Hello Year 7 and welcome to our second lesson on the topic of skills. Today we are going to talk about bar charts, and our learning journey starts with understanding the key features of a bar chart. So we're going to look at how actually a bar graph looks like and what it consists of. Then we are going to construct a bar chart from scratch, and then we are going to describe the trend shown within a bar chart. For today, equipment, you're going to need pen, pencil, graph paper, a ruler, WordWall, and YouTube.
Understanding the key features of a bar chart. Now you will need to pay careful attention to what I'm going to explain now because you're going to test your knowledge on this at the end. A bar chart or a bar graph shows information or data by using rectangular bars of different heights, just like in this example here. A bar chart has different components and we are now going to look at all of them so it makes it easier for you to understand how it works. A bar chart has a title so we know what information is describing or measuring. For example, here we're talking about population in 2007. Like any other graph, it has an x-axis and a y-axis on the vertical line. The x-axis usually shows groups or categories, like in this case the 4 countries, Belgium, Germany, Spain and Ireland, but it could also show numerical data. For example, if we were talking about population change over time, there would be years instead of countries, so numerical data. The y-axis is usually numerical data, values. In this case, the number of population in the number of population in millions. The numerical data is distributed, it's shown by scale. And the scale here is distributed in units of 20 because if we look at the y-axis, there is a difference of 20 between the numbers. This could be represented in units of tens as well because if we look at the table above, our values are from 10 to 100, but for a different graph, it could also be units of fives or 100 if we are talking about higher numbers. Also, make sure you always start your graph from 0 because when counting, your graph starts where the y and the x-axis meet. And of course, the bars. These are showing the values of each category with their height. For example, if we know Belgium had a population of 10 million people, we would draw the bar raising it up to where we approximate that 10 is in between 0 and 20. Bar graphs are not the same thing as histograms, where the bars are not separate. So always, when you draw your graph, you have to make sure that you leave gaps between the bars, exactly as you see in this graph here. Always make sure you leave equal space between the bars. Now that you've gone through the features of a bar chart, you are going to test your knowledge and understanding by completing a matchup activity on WordWall. A link to this is on ClassCharts. Make sure you take a picture of your results and show it to your teacher. So stop the video now and play the game. We are now going to learn how to construct a bar chart from scratch. For this activity, you are going to need graph paper and, of course, a ruler. You have to watch the YouTube video which explains how to create a bar chart from scratch. The link to this is on ClassCharts. Now there are 3 activities that you can choose to do depending on the grade that you are aiming for. If you're aiming for a grade 3 or 4, you'll have to do the developing task, which means that on your graph paper, you have to draw the bar chart from the video as you are watching the video. Make sure you make your x-axis longer so you can add more data later. After you finish watching the video and you created the same graph that you've seen in the video, make sure you then add the data from table 1 to your graph by drawing the bars, just like you've seen in the video. For the secure task, so if you're aiming for a grade 5 or 6, you have to do the secure task, which means that after you've watched the video, you have to create your own graph using the values from table 2. You will have to establish what the scale is yourself. Is it units of tens or hundreds? What do you think? For the master task, so if you're aiming for grades 7 or 8 or even higher, you will have to complete the secure activity and then answer the following questions. Are these countries meeting the Sustainable Development Goals? What does it mean if only 31% of Mozambique population has access to improved sanitation and clean water? You have to link this to SEEP. So how are people affected? What about the economy? So you don't have to do all the tasks, you just have to choose one of them. So you have to choose either developing, either secure or master, depending on the grade that you are aiming for. Now at the end, make sure made. So stop the video now, watch the YouTube video and complete the task. So we are now at our last part of our learning journey, and hopefully now we know what are the elements of a bar chart. And now we are going to describe the trend shown within a bar graph. This bar graph here shows the literacy rate, the global adult literacy rate percentage over time. So what happened, how many people were able to read and write over time? You will have to describe the global literacy rate pattern. So how many adults are able to read and write around the world using GCSE. For the developing task, you'll have to give the general trend. So has the literacy rate percentage around the world increased or decreased? You'll have to also look closer in and describe the time period when the percentage had increased or decreased the most. So what are the years? For the secure task, you have to be more specific. How much it has increased? You have to give the numbers, you have to do the math. And also give the exception. Is there anywhere in this graph, anywhere in time when there is an exception to the rule? So for example, if you said that the literacy rate decreased, is there an exception? Is there any time when it has actually increased? What is the data showing? And for the master task, you have to explain why do you think this pattern exists. At the end, make sure you take a picture of your explanation of your GCSE trend description. Well done on getting to the last part of our lesson. For today, you must upload a picture or a screenshot of the word wall diagram completed, a picture of your task 2 graph completed, and a picture of task 3 GCSE pattern description. Make sure you upload all these 3 tasks so you can show your teacher that you understood how bar charts work. Have a good day.